Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining from live. We are very happy to have you here to kick off this wonderful celebration of International Women's Day. My name is Rafaela de la Vega, and I am a business development coordinator for WSET Americas. And before we do get started, just want to let you know, we are recording the seminar today and it will be live on YouTube. So if it's getting a little late, you can hit pause and continue on later this week. So real quick, so as you all know, right, International Women's Day is kicking off today. This year's theme is Breaking the Bias, and we are highlighting women who have worked towards equality within our industry. Today we have the lovely Michelle Bouffard, who has an impressive repertoire within our industry. She has worked as a sommelier, she has worked in cellar management, wine education. In 2017, she started an international symposium called Tasting Climate Change, which has been really awesome to just see all of these problems and solutions that our industry can really focus on. And she has her own book, as well as contributed to other books as well. Regardless to say, she has quite an impressive career within this industry, and we are so very lucky to be sharing this virtual stage with her today. So Michelle, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, of course, thank you. So tell us briefly about your career, how you started, where you are today, and kind of just the elevator pitch.
I would say that wine came from an accident. It was not planned. I am from Quebec, as you can hear from my accent, and I moved to Vancouver 25 years ago to finish my bachelor in classical trumpet. And it was the first time in my life I could not earn my money in music because I didn't know anyone over there. So I pretended that I had worked in restaurants before. I applied for a job in a restaurant. They took me. And along the way, I fell in love with wine. And I had my partner at the time said to me, you should really change career and go in wine. And I'm like, no, I'm an artist. And then in 1999, he registered me for a WSET. At the time, it was called intermediate course. And then I took the course and I fell in love, and I quit music, my career in music, my bachelor, everything. And I did all of my study in wine. And then I went on to start my own business in Vancouver that I had for 13 years. And then I moved back to Montreal 6 years ago.
Wow. Oh my goodness, yes. And so you've been with WSET for quite a while too. Yes. So that's impressive.
Yes.
And so currently today, why don't you tell us a little bit more about Tasting Climate Change and how that started and what you're working on right now?
So lots of things related to WSET actually, because when I finished my diploma in 2005, at the very end, you could choose a topic that you wanted to do your final paper. And I had just watched a documentary by Al Gore called The Inconvenient Truth. And I was quite concerned, and I thought, you know what, it's going to be a problem for the wine industry. But at the time, I was much younger, didn't really have the connection in the wine industry or the knowledge. And I thought one day I will do something about it. And so when I quit Vancouver and my business to move back to Montreal, where I'm from, it was in 2016, and I thought, well, this is the good time. I've grown in the business. I have connections throughout the world, and I think I can gather experts to really share the solutions. Because what really bothered me is that when you look at the TV or you look in the newspaper, they always focus on the dramatic side of climate change and not the solutions. And I think if we do that, people are just paralyzed. So in 2017, I held my first international symposium in Montreal, and I brought people from all over the world to discuss really the problems, but most importantly, the solutions. And it became something that, and then I did another edition in 19, and then in November this year, I had 31 speakers online because of the pandemic. So it's grown, and it's now become something that I do all year long. So there's always this time where we have the international conference, but throughout the year, I have webinars. I have one at the end of the month. If you want to join, it's free. You can go on tastingclimatechange.com. So tasting climate change has become a big part of my time. And then I teach WSET. I've been teaching WSET, I think, since 2005 or 6, so a long time. And then I write for a number of publications, and I'm on a TV show here in Quebec. That's a cooking show. So I do all of the wine recommendation for the cooking show. And yeah, that's I would say that's the gist of what I do. I do a lot more, but that's kind of the 101 of what I do.
Yes, a very holistic approach to the industry, indeed. And so real quick, so you said it's this climatechange.com, just so everyone knows.
Yeah, tastingclimatechange.com. I really invite you to go there. You cannot see the one in November yet. Eventually you will be able to see the conference, but you can see past conference. But also if you go to the OFF program, you will see all the seminars that are offered throughout the year, and you can register, and it's free. I have a lot of WSET students emailing me, asking me information and interviewing me for tasting climate change, because it's often a question in the diploma. So if you need information, it's a good place to go.
Nice, awesome. Well, I'll be messaging you for that because I just signed up for diploma myself. So, but awesome. So obviously you've built the impressive resume, right? What can you say are some of the most important factors that have brought you to this point in your career?
Number one, there's 2 things for me that are key ingredients. Passion. You need the passion for sure, but hard work, right? There's no when I teach, I often have students say, what can I do to get there? And I said, well, I started in a restaurant. I was a busser. I was cleaning table, and then I became a server. And then I started to work for a private buyer, and I was doing the purchase for Bordeaux and Burgundy and all France. And then I started my business. But every little thing that I did along the way, I met people. I would say nurture good relationship, professional relationship, because you never know when that connection will be important. So I think be open to meet people, and you cannot want to be at the top of the company right from the get-go. Be willing to try everything. And what I do today, what I do would not have been possible if I had not done all of the rest before. From having a business in Vancouver where I was managing sellers for rich people, I was doing a lot of private event and corporate event and public event, from writing for magazines, from television. I think be open, try everything, and you'll find your way. But hard work, you won't get where you want without hard work. I think that's number one for me.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And do you think there was someone that you looked up to as a mentor, or provided a piece of advice that really, got you to that point as well?
I don't know I think I've met a lot of people that were inspiring me. My background is classical music, so I'm born in a life of discipline. So when I quit music to go into wine, I remember before doing WSET, I also did my sommelier diploma. And I remember taking the 6 month of the curriculum and dividing per day the number of hours and minutes dedicated to each subject. And a friend of mine found my book by mistake, and it was my schedule in it for 6 months to the minute. And he's like, what are you doing? Are you crazy? And for me, I didn't even know what it meant, because that's how my life had been with music. If you want to get, I was trained to be a classical orchestra player. So I was practicing 10 hours a day at the end. So for me, it's just how you did things. If you wanted to succeed, you worked hard, you put it in your schedule. So I think a lot of the success that I've had came from hard work and from discipline that I had learned earlier in my life. And then along the way, I think, when you see people who have made it, then it gives you the inspiration for sure. So I think I was lucky to meet, a dear friend of mine, Barbara Phillips. She was the first woman to become a Master of Wine in Canada at the time. She's one of my best friends, and I saw her go through the process. So, I saw her work internationally as well as in Canada. So to know that this was possible early on in your career, it's important to see that it's possible.
Yeah, no, that's awesome that you had such like the intrinsic motivation to work hard, right? Because I feel like that is something that you really need in this industry when it comes to studying, especially.
Yeah.
So even as a student today, because a little side note to everyone who's joining us, Michelle right now is currently studying for her Master of Wine. So she is still a student, even though she's an educator as well. So Michelle, what has been important, or how important has wine education been to your journey and your career?
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was leaving a career of music to go into wine. And I remember when I registered for my WSET, the intermediate course in '99, everyone in my class were working in restaurants. And I was the only one in the class not, and I didn't know anything. And I just like, oh my God, like I have to start from the beginning. And so for me, I knew that education was the way to get where I want. And I always believe, it's like when I study music, there's amazing musicians who did not study music, but they're incredible. But I really believe in classic training, because if you have that base knowledge, then you can go out and improvise and do what you want. It just gives you, it's really good tools to have in your box. My favorite jazz trumpet player was Miles Davis. And he always said, the reason I can improvise, it's because I went to Harvard or Juilliard, sorry. But I think it just gives you freedom. Discipline is freedom. Education is freedom, because it gives you tools. And it's not finished. It's not because you did your diploma or you Master of Wine that you know everything. Every time you feel that your knowledge is just starting, and that is the crazy thing about it. I saw a post lately on Instagram. Someone said, you take your WSET1, you feel, oh, I know a lot. And then, the more you go into your career, you're like, oh my God, it's complicated and I don't know anything. And I think to me, education gives you tool, you're better equipped to ask more questions, to continue the journey afterwards.
Definitely. No, I completely agree with that. Agree with that. I just started about 2 years ago, and I thought I knew everything after level 1, teaching my friends tannin and acid and how to describe the glass. But then you enter the industry, and it's a whole world just opens up to you. So it definitely humbles you.
Yes.
So what would you say is, and to honor the International Women's Day celebration that we have, what would be kind of that important message that you would give out to women right now who are thinking of going into the wine industry or just about to enter the wine industry?
Try everything, be open, look for opportunities. I think it's been a key thing for me, is seeing what's out there and looking at opportunities that were possible. Tell yourself that everything is possible. Everything is possible. You just have to make it happen and work hard. And I think, the situation for women is a bit different around the world. In some countries, it's a bit more difficult. I have the privilege to live in Canada, and it's the women condition has always been, I would say, good, and I've never encountered more difficulty because I was a woman. But I think if you live in another country that's a bit different, I think when you look at women in other places who are making it happen, just tell yourself it's possible. I think to have role model that you can, I really believe in a role model, because you need inspiration to keep on going, and you need to see that it is possible. And that's what I would say, just keep on working and it's possible.
Yes, no, and hopefully many of us that are here today will find you as a role model as we progress through our studies and education within wine. So thank you
And
for sharing everything.
And you know what, the last thing I would say is believe in your dream. It's interesting because along my career, the one thing I saw though sometimes around me, early on in my career, I had big aspiration and people would say, oh my God, you're crazy. You know, like this, like, you know, it's like, it's not possible. And I think you have to believe in your dream. Um, and life sometimes takes you in different ways, in different paths you did not expect. But I think that following your dream, it will take you somewhere that you will love, even though it might not be where you think it is.
Yes, yes, I
Yeah.
could not agree with that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I thank you so much for just sharing your story and sharing everything with us. I'm curious about it, and I'm sure others are curious about it too. But being or having that musician path in your past, do you still find yourself playing music today? Is that still something that kind of brings your stress levels down when you're studying as a good break? Um,
It's funny. You know, studying trumpet, I was a trumpet player, and it's a very physical instrument. There's more than 100 muscles engaged in your mouth when you play trumpet. So it's like if I used to do a marathon and I did not run for years, it's very difficult. And so, you know, when I quit trumpet, I was playing 10 hours a day. Now you know, yesterday I studied 9 hours for my MW. So right now my situation is between my study time for the MW program, running my own business. There's not a lot of time left and I don't have that time. My hope is when I finish my MW that I will go back to it. But I would say that music is a big part of my life. And it's certainly, this morning I was working, I listen to music all the time. It's definitely an escape for me and a time that I can recenter. When I do yoga, I listen to music. So music will always be a big part of my life. And in terms of playing, currently, I don't have enough hours in the days.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, Michelle was just telling me she studied about 14 hours this past weekend. So that is a lot of hard work. But you know, we wish you the very best of luck with the rest of the process in achieving Master of Wine. We'd love to have more women on that stage, on that platform as well. So we do very much, you know, thank you for your time and everything. I do see a couple of questions in the Q&A box. So I just want to see this. So besides WSET, what are Michelle's qualifications? So if you have others that you would like to list right now.
Yeah, I actually did at the same time that I did my WSET, I also did my sommelier program. So I did my sommelier program that I did my WSET all the way to diploma. And then I did my teacher training with WSET. I have my own APP in Montreal. So I teach the WSET and I have my own APP. So in the wine, and now I'm in the stage 2 of the Master of Wine program. After that, I won't stop studying, but I may take a break.
Yeah. Yeah, picking back music up, maybe. Awesome. Great. Well, thank you all so much. I know we've gotten to our 20-minute mark. I know it's very short, and we definitely want to make sure that we do add as much detail as possible to these. So I do appreciate everyone tuning in live. As I mentioned, this will be recorded. So if anyone wants to take a look back, get that source of inspiration again to continue on with their studies or just learn about, you know, tasting climate change, please go ahead and do so. It'll be live on YouTube. And Michelle, thank you so much for joining us today. I do appreciate your time with us and sharing the stage with WSET.
Thank you so much for having me. And I just want to say that for me, the WSET education has been a big part of my path. And I encourage you to go as far as you can because it really enriches your career.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for that, Michelle.
Thank you.
And have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.